Peter. Welcome to 2020 Investments. Today, we are going to discuss what we mean by the volatility of an ETF. While there are many considerations that go into establishing a fund's risk rating, in this presentation we shall only focus on investment risk.
Good morning, Susan. What do you mean by investment risk?
I mean the risk that the value of your fund will go down rather than up. To better understand this risk, one can consider a number of factors that drives future returns, but the simplest way to gain an insight into what might happen is to study the empirical data.
Isn't it dangerous looking at historical data to infer what might happen in the future?
In many ways, yes, but if the historical data covers a wide range of economic conditions, then we can at least get a feeling for the size of potential losses.
Okay, but why do analysts look at percentage returns rather than changes in the absolute level of the fund's net asset value?
Ultimately, one looks for a way of comparing the riskiness of ETFs on a like-for-like basis.
What does it mean to say an ETF has a 12% volatility?
The idea is to measure the returns of a fund over a particular period, and once one has enough sample points to then measure how much these returns fluctuate throughout time.
Isn't that what statisticians call standard deviation?
That's right. In finance they call this historical volatility.
Susan, what do you do if there isn't much historical data?
The statistics become unreliable if there aren't enough data points. One can always look at daily returns, as there will be plenty of those, but if the observation window does not contain enough economic cycles, the usefulness of these is somewhat limited.
This sounds a bit too abstract. Isn't there a way I can translate this into something that I can intuitively understand?
A much better way to think about volatility is to translate the number into a given confidence level for future returns. For example, if an ETF had a one-year volatility of 21% and a net asset value of 100, then in 1 year's time there would be a 95% probability that the value would lie between 77.5 and 155.5.
Presumably, at different points of the economic cycle the same ETF will display different levels of volatility.
That's right. Just as prices vary through time, the riskiness of an ETF also moves up and down.
Thank you. Now I understand what you mean by volatility.